verse 16, chapter 3, the Gospel according to St. John. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. What is this thing called love? I made a statement that 98% of the people that are married, they are unhappy. They are living together. They are shacking legally. And that means that love has stepped on the wings of the morning, if it was ever there, and gone. And there are any number of factors that is responsible for them still remaining there. I call it legal shacking. There are some folks that are shacking because they want to. They're not married, they're just living together because they don't want no responsibility. They want to go, they want to split when they get ready. And they see somebody else they want, they go after them. And they say, this thing is over, split. There ain't no strings attached, that's the end. And there are those that would like to split. And they have actually split up, but they're still in the same house. There's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. Something is wrong somewhere. And I want you to know that God is not behind it. God does not separate anybody. I want you to understand that. What God has joined together. I want you to understand, I'm not talking about whether this is to be my wife and I am to be her husband. What God has joined together. See, God, when all of those animals passed by, wasn't no chicken, wasn't no dog found for Adam. He took something out of his side and made a woman. And God intends for male and female to be put together. And what he has joined together, you better not marry no dog and no cat. Now, whether God, I don't believe God joins all these folk together that have joined themselves together. And before I get through here, you're going to see why. The institution of marriage was ordained by God. It has a holy significance to it that you can easily find out from reading the 5th chapter of the book of Ephesians. It lets you know that it is symbolical, or the analogy is drawn of husband and wife. Between husband and wife is like Christ and the church and his bride. So We're moving in here to our message. What is this thing called love? I'm going to start out by reading off some definitions here. There are so many definitions for love. Now, time will not permit me to mention them all here. But I've jotted down a few that I thought were good. And I want to share them with you. From some of the great thinkers of our time. Hannah More says, love never reasons, but profusely gives. Gives like a thoughtless prodigal its all. Love gives its all and trembles then lest it has done too little. Shakespeare says, love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind. Now that's why some of y'all are in trouble. She looked good. He looked good. And wouldn't work a day. But love, he says, looks not with the eyes, but with the mind. You can see what you call a good-looking man with what you call an ugly woman. And you wonder how in the world did she get him? And you wonder how in the world did he get her? Well, I'm going to tell you, they didn't see each other with the eyes. Their spirits are vibrating on the same level. You got to penetrate beyond that veil of flesh, because you really don't see the real man and the real woman as they are. Thank you, Jesus. And when you just look at the outward appearance, when that person gets crippled, and when their eyes get bad, and when their flesh begins to deteriorate and cripple and wrinkle all up, then your eyes start looking somewhere else. Shakespeare said, love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind. Hear me now. Longfellow says, love gives itself. It is not bought. You can't buy no man and no woman. Anytime you think you're going to give that woman enough money and enough gifts to make her love you, you missed it. She gonna take your gifts and tell you goodbye. Love gives itself. You can't buy it. Fuller says, affections like the conscience are rather to be led than drawn. Hear that? It's rather to be led. Your affections are to be led than drawn. And 'tis to be feared. Whew. They that marry where they do not love will love where they do not marry. This is why there's so much tipping up and down the street. A lot of folks have married where they do not love.